so many new pieces to this IU football team.
To me, that's going to set the tone on how you get ready for games on Saturday in the fall.
I would put that Indiana room up against anybody else in the conference, and that's something that we typically don't even come close to saying.
If you want to get total sickos committee about it, there's a position battle at long snapper too.
This is the Hoosier Huddle Podcast, part of the College Huddle Podcast Network.
All right, welcome back to the Hoosier Huddle Podcast, where we're getting ready to talk some Indiana football. It is award season, TJ. IU took home a ton of awards. However, none bigger than Fernando Mendoza winning the Heisman Trophy. It was Indiana's first win in the Heisman. Really a little revenge for Anthony Thompson back in 1989. But, man, what a moment. What a moment for the team, the program. What a moment for him, his family. The speech left not a dry eye, at least in my house, and I assume your house as well. It was, he spoke Spanish to his grandparents, which was awesome. He did say he was conversational in Spanish, not fluent yesterday when we talked to him. But man, what a moment for IU. I asked Fernando, because there's been so many Heisman stories about it. We'll get into it. We'll rehash it since it is such a big deal. But how do you move on from it? Because the Rose Bowl is coming up in a couple weeks. It's man, it is pushing us forward. This Heisman really, I wouldn't call it meaningless, but it would mean more if IU wins the next 3 games and wins the national title. They're 3 games away from a national title, 3 wins away. So it's usually what feels like the end of the season chapter. It is just another chapter in this IU football season's book. But what was your takeaway from the Heisman? It is not the worst produced ESPN show ever. That is the stupid postseason selection show that goes on for 9 hours.
Right.
So I like how they do it. I like getting to know the candidates and going over the highlights and meeting family members and seeing all those things. But what was your takeaway from Saturday?
Yeah, and I think it's fun, seeing the former Heisman winners up there on the stage. They have them kind of introduced by decade. I think that's fun. Is it a bit schmaltzy? Sure. Okay, fine. And there's no problem with that. It's part of it is nostalgic. Part of it is, hey, oh, there's Tommy Frazier. Wow, he looks good. Or, hey, there's, Archie Griffin again. It's. I think it's fun seeing the greats from the past. And what's even more special now is that Indiana has a representative in that exclusive club.
Yes.
And, when people remember this college football season, that's one of the things they're going to remember about it is that, Fernando Mendoza, the catch for Omar Cooper in the back of the end zone, the toe tap touchdown. Indiana winning the Big Ten, Fernando Mendoza and his Heisman speech. Those are going to be the things that get remembered about this season. Did he put up the numbers that Joe Burrow did? No, he didn't. But he was a very deserving winner that won it in a landslide. It was there wasn't really any suspense going into Saturday night about who was going to win. There was perhaps a slight bit of doubt, I don't know, maybe some SEC bias will creep in there. Big Ten voters will split their vote, and all of the SEC votes will go to Pavia, and that'll make it close. But even that was just kind of conspiracy theory, doom wishing. It was kind of a fait accompli. And you had to wait for the whole hour to make sure and then hear his speech. But just another example of how special Fernando Mendoza is and how special it is to continue to have the Mendoza family representing the Indiana football program. I absolutely no bad things for anybody to say about Fernando Mendoza. The worst thing that you hear people say is, I don't know, he seems kind of dorky. Okay, well,
yeah, but that's who he is, and
exactly. He was genuine. He was absolutely genuine.
You know, he comes off as robotic, but that's his process. He memorized the speech just like he memorizes the playbook and all those things. And, you know, we asked him earlier in the week, somebody asked him about how he decompresses from all this.
Right.
And he's like one of us. Like, I just want to watch football with the dudes.
Yeah.
Like, that's how he decompresses. I just want to watch football with my friends. It's like, who else doesn't want to do that? Right. Now, there's probably different ways he watches football. I don't think if he has friends over and is decompressing, that he's watching with a notepad and all that stuff. It's not like he's getting ready for a game, but he is methodical in his preparation. He was methodical in his preparation for the speech. His mother wrote an awesome letter on the Players Tribune.
Yeah.
A couple days before the Heisman ceremony. He handled himself with class. And look, I like Diego Pavia. I do. And I don't want to make this podcast about him. I thought he was the only one with a legit shot to beat out Fernando. I like the way he plays. I like his attitude on the field. He's 5'9". He has that dog in him. And he's going to be out to prove everybody else wrong. And that's why Vanderbilt won 10 games. What he did was just it was a bad look for him. But Fernando Mendoza took the losingest program in college football history, went undefeated, and won a Big Ten title. Could he have he finished with 2,980 yards.
Right.
Passing. He led the FBS in touchdowns accounted for with 39. There were like 6 games where he didn't play the second half, or at least the fourth quarter. You look at the Illinois and Indiana State games, in 4 quarters, 4 out of 8 quarters of football, he was like 40 of 42 for 539 yards passing and 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Well, what happens if he played the other 4 quarters?
Yeah.
So, you could get hung up on, and this is where I don't like some of the national, get hung up on the stats. It just shows me that you didn't watch the games. He went in and, his Heisman moment was the catch at Penn State, but he had multiple moments in the clutch at Iowa.
Yep.
At Oregon.
Yep.
At Penn State. Somebody likened the hit he took at Ohio State to a car crash. Like, people would be seriously injured. He comes back after one play, and he didn't put up 300 yards or throw for 5 touchdowns, but he gave what the defense. He took what the defense gave to him. He made some big time throws and big time spots against the defense that they were giving up 7 points a game. Mm-hmm. So all these people, he didn't throw for this many, or he didn't run for this many, or he's too geeky. Like, I get the geeky argument. I could understand where it's like, man, I just can't listen to him speak. I love listening to him speak because he's one of us.
Yeah.
But it just shows me they didn't watch him play until late in the year. And I wish he had a better game at Purdue, because then you could hit those milestone numbers that some of these experts care about. So, but man, what a moment for IU. And then he had his teammates out there.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to tell my wife, I am no longer going to Times Square unless Pat Coogan and Carter Smith are around me body slamming Superman and Elmo. Because we're the last time there, it was raining. There was a gazillion people with umbrellas. And I might have said more F-bombs than Pat Coogan has in his career, which is probably a lot. But yeah, it was to, other teammates came out for other players too, but this, I get Navy's guys take brotherhood. It's a different type of brotherhood.
Yeah.
But to see those guys fly out on their own dime, go to all these events, Fernando put on a shopping spree for families dealing with MS. They were at that. As soon as he hit the media room, we're celebrating there. But all the guys are still bought into Cignetti. Cignetti was there, and he, I don't know, half jokingly, not jokingly at all, said, "Hey, party's over on Tuesday." Yeah. And they responded, "You mean Monday, coach?" So, it's just, this team is special, and it was great to see.
Yes. Yeah. I don't really have a whole lot to add. I agree with everything that you said. I do think it would be wise for people to perhaps quit worrying about whatever online criticism is being lobbied towards Fernando Mendoza. It doesn't matter. It does not matter that there will be people that will be critical of Fernando, comparing him to past Heisman Trophy winners. Oh, well, he's not as good of a winner as X. And fill in the blank. It does not matter.
Nope.
I don't mean to tell anybody how to feel, but the internet will attempt to steal your joy over this team, over this moment for IU football. Do not let it, because it is completely irrelevant. It would happen no matter what Fernando Mendoza's numbers were. Okay, the same thing would be being said, just finding new things to criticize.
They only beat Illinois by 53 and not 70. Man, Joe Burrow would have hung 18 touchdowns on that. Like, who cares?
Right.
Get over yourself.
None of it matters. The only thing that does matter is Indiana has a Heisman Trophy winner that will never change. That is now one of the college football to-dos, has been crossed off.
Yep.
And in addition, I think that I can only speak for myself, but I have two sons and a daughter. My daughter is young enough that she does not care at all about anything. If a game is on, she will say, "Oh, which cover are we rooting for?" And I will tell her, and then she will proceed to not pay attention again, ever. Fine. My two boys have always liked sports, but this is probably the first team that either of them have really gotten emotionally invested in. And Fernando Mendoza is the first player that I feel like either of them have put on some sort of pedestal. He's not a hero to them or anything like that, and they're not worshiping him, but they have put him on a pedestal and, watched him speak, watched him play, watched him interact with people on social media. They have taken an interest beyond the field in Fernando Mendoza, and I can only say that I am proud that he is the guy that they're looking up to, because I think that he is a exemplary role model. And if I had a chance to say thank you to him, it would not be, "Hey, thanks for being an awesome quarterback," although I do really appreciate that. It would be, "Hey, thanks for being somebody that my kids can look up to and that I take joy in watching off the field, for the things that he's doing off the field and the way that he interacts with fans, the way that he interacts with his parents."
Yep.
And the pride that they clearly have in each other as a family. he's been a fantastic representative for this university, and he deserves every accolade he's getting.
Yeah, and you said that perfectly. He is what embodies to be a Hoosier. Win, lose, or draw, that's the guy you want to go to battle with, and that's the guy you want representing your university in these speeches, in these, in the public eye, and all of those things. He's, he's intelligent. He works hard. He's humble. And a lot of the IU football players are. You look at all the guys they run out at media availability. They're all well-spoken. They're all humble. They all work hard. They all know what the mission is. And if you were Indiana sending people out to represent you, there are 100 guys on this team that you would be totally comfortable with saying, hey, you're going to represent us at this event. So it's a testament to the culture of the team, the work that the coaches are doing, the players and the players' parents. It goes. There's still people have to raise children, and it just shows you that if you raise them the right way, you could do great things. So, but let's. There's more on the table. We're going to, as Fernando said, we're going to fold the page on the Heisman.
That's right.
And they're going to get back to work. He said yesterday the ultimate goal is the national title, which it is. I will argue that it's not the only thing. Let's say IU doesn't win the national title, doesn't negate anything that has happened already. But it is still on the table. IU heads to the Rose Bowl. Hoosier Huddle heads to the Rose Bowl to see Indiana play on January 1st at 4 p.m. Don't know the opponent yet. That will come on Friday night as Oklahoma takes on Alabama in Norman. All eyes should be on that at 8 p.m. I don't think anybody's going to say, well, I'd rather play this team or that team and give bulletin board material. But these are two teams that are inherently flawed. We've seen this game already, which is kind of like, what are we doing? But it should be another barn burner of a game between two. They're very good teams. And the biggest question going into this game is who's healthy. We'll get an initial injury report sometime tonight, I think around 8 p.m. Eastern. So we'll have that out for you on the site. But first glance at this game on Friday night, TJ, what besides them beating the snot out of each other in a 9 overtime thriller, what are we looking for?
So in the first matchup, Oklahoma wins in Tuscaloosa. But I think anybody that watched the game, I did, watched it as it was happening, and I've rewatched it once. Alabama was the better team. That being said, I think that it's fair to say Alabama, to end the season, did not look like a playoff team for probably 6 weeks.
Yeah.
They were outplayed by Auburn. They were outplayed by South Carolina. They were kind of lackluster against LSU. That was just a dead team walking.
Crushed by Georgia.
The SEC championship game, that was uncompetitive. The best game that they played was probably the loss to Oklahoma, at least statistically. Now, Oklahoma,
they also beat Georgia.
I mean, in the last like six games, down the stretch, right? So no, they had a stretch earlier where they looked like a legitimate top 2 or 3 team, right?
Yep.
They went on a run of at Georgia, Missouri, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. They beat a lot of quality teams in a row, and you can say, okay, is that the Alabama that was healthy, and then injuries hurt them down the stretch, and they've used this time off to maybe get more healthy and get back to that earlier version of themselves? Or did they beat some very flawed teams like Missouri, like Tennessee? They beat Georgia before Georgia found themselves. We don't know for sure. What we can say for sure is that they outgained Oklahoma almost 2-1 in Tuscaloosa. But Oklahoma, I think, played that game the way that they wanted to. They set Alabama up to get those turnovers. They felt like we can force this quarterback into mistakes. And they did. Now, I think what you're looking for this time around, neither team runs the ball very well. The better wide receivers belong, I would say, are on the Alabama side.
Yep.
But the Crimson Tide have got to find a way to get more production out of Ryan Williams. They've gotten a really good year out of Jeremy Bernard. They've gotten some younger guys that have stepped up and made plays, but they have got to find a consistent number two, and that needs to be Ryan Williams. He's had a hard time catching the ball. They've had to resort to really just throwing screen passes to him. They cannot trust him down the field. The offensive line blocking against Oklahoma's defensive front and pressure is going to be a key for them. You mentioned the health. Is Ty Simpson remotely healthy? I don't think the injury report is going to tell us anything on that, right?
No,
But
we'll know. They put out multiple. So the SEC does it like the NFL.
Yeah.
They put out initial report tonight, and then I think there's one later in the week, probably on Thursday.
It's not going to tell us.
No, it's not going to tell you.
He actually has a bad back injury. No, we're not going to.
No, it's going to tell you whether or not he participated in practice, was limited in practice, or out of practice, I believe. And then you'll get one on Thursday, and then you'll get one 90 minutes before the game on Friday.
Right.
Look, there are always surprises that pop up on any injury report. It's not an SEC thing. It's not a Big Ten thing. It's not an NFL thing.
Right.
It's just a football coach thing.
I think we're looking at Jan Miller. Jan Miller, they need him back, and they need him healthy. They do not have a good running back besides him, at least not a consistent one. Parker Brailsford at center. His ankle, I believe it's his right ankle, that has been heavily, heavily taped. I mean, if you see it on camera, it's like twice the size of what you would want a normal looking ankle to look like. That obviously is a problem for an offensive lineman, particularly one as important to their offense as he is. It would be like Indiana having Pat Coogan trying to play on one leg. It's a problem. And they really need their tight end back, and his name is escaping my mind right now. You can find that. Interrupt me when you get it, but they need him back. He is a critical part of their run block, and he's the safety valve for Ty Simpson.
Josh Cuevas.
Yes.
4 touchdowns, so he's their third leading touchdown getter receiving.
A really good blocker. Really good blocker.
30 catches as well. And he's 6'3", 256. Tough kid.
Missed the Georgia game.
Yeah, missed the Georgia game. We'll see. I mean, they still look kind of dead in the water with him in there, but he's a game changer as well. But you look at this, to me, I've rewatched a couple of Alabama games. They're just missing that edge, it seems, that they had previously. Watching the Florida State game, and everybody crowned Florida State, and they ended up not being great. Florida. Alabama's missing their nose tackle, which is a pretty big deal in stopping the run. But Florida State ran all over them with Tommy Castellanos. Now, in this game against Oklahoma, Alabama probably should have won the first game. Oklahoma made a couple. I think they blocked the punt, had a pick six, won the special teams, probably won the starting field position battle, and won the turnover battle, yet they only won by 2. Now you're taking Bama on the road, and Oklahoma's had some injuries too. John Mateer was banged up. He broke his hand, right?
Yep.
He broke his hand.
Thumb
Had surgery. Yeah, thumb surgery, rushed back, looked terrible against Texas. Is he fully healthy? Does that offense get going? But that defense is absolutely legit. And they will they'll have the crowd behind them.
Yep.
It's, to beat them in Tuscaloosa gives you a lot of confidence that, hey, we didn't play our best game on offense. Frankly, probably should have lost that game, but defense bailed us out and special teams.
Yep.
So, Alabama as a road favorite it's a tempting bet to take Oklahoma with the points at home.
It is. And for people watching on Friday night, if you haven't seen Oklahoma play, Brent Venables is the head coach, former defensive coordinator at Clemson, one of the best defensive coordinators the sport has had. Fantastic at coming up with blitz pressures, sending blitzes from different places. And you'll see their defensive line shifts late. A lot of late shifting and movement by their defensive line. That will probably cause Alabama's offensive line, particularly with that noise at night in a home playoff game, that's going to be a major challenge for the protection of Alabama's offensive line. They're going to have to be airtight figuring it out, because what Oklahoma is going to try to do is cause false starts with that late shifting and create some confusion so that they can get free rushers to Ty Simpson, get sacks, get negative plays, or force fumbles, right? Or force him into bad decisions throwing the ball, into coverage, interceptions, get short fields, capitalize for touchdowns. That's the game plan for Oklahoma. If the Sooners can find any type of consistent offense, they'll hit some big plays every now and then. Isaiah Satania is a good deep threat receiver, but on a play-to-play basis, their offense is poor. It is not good. It's explosive play or a 3-and-out or a turnover. And they would almost prefer just, hey, we take a deep shot. If we don't get it, we're going to play conservative. We'll punt it away, put the other team in bad field position, and take our chances. I've been asked a lot, like, okay, which team do you think IU matches up better with? And I don't really know the answer, but if Alabama's not 100% healthy, I would rather play Alabama.
Yeah, what scares me is if Alabama's a fully functional Death Star again.
Well,
then they're a legit
they have
top
a higher
5 team.
ceiling. They have a higher ceiling than Oklahoma does, but we haven't seen that ceiling for probably a month and a half, 2 months. That doesn't mean they don't find it again, right? So I think the Alabama that we've seen, IU matches up better with them, just because I think Oklahoma's defense is probably the best unit in this game. But the other side of the ball for Oklahoma has been such an anchor to their team recently that it feels like the Oklahoma offense that we've seen against IU's defense probably would be fortunate to get 14 points on the board. So I am really interested to see, have either of these teams figured something out during this time off?
Yep.
And if the answer is no, if it's more of what they've looked like, then I think Indiana would feel comfortable with either opponent. Doesn't mean they can't lose, but if one of these teams comes out and looks like they have found something during this time off, whether it's health, offensive wrinkles, John Mateer's found some passing rhythm again. They found a more consistent run game, something to complement that defense. Then the Rose Bowl game becomes significantly scarier for IU. But
yeah,
I think that's what you're looking for on Friday night is what has the time off done for these teams? How do they look coming out of that? And do they look significantly improved over the last time they played? Because the versions that we saw heading into the playoff, I don't think are particularly scary.
Yeah, it's what did they open at? Either it was a 5-point favorite against Alabama and a 8-point favorite against Oklahoma, or
that's correct.
5.5, 8.5, something
5.5
like that.
and 8. Yep.
So it's
which is going to fluctuate quite a bit depending on how they look Friday night, right? If Alabama comes out and looks awesome,
that might be a pit move to pick them, or
I don't know what
Alabama
that
might be.
Yeah.
Because you'll have the Stephen Daly news factor in which we'll get into that as we get closer to the game too.
Yep.
Because there are some options for IU. Especially, look, you're giving Brian Haynes $3 million a year. You can figure out that's what you're paying him for, right? To figure out
he's answered the bell every time he's been called upon.
So, final thoughts on this, TJ. It is a special time to be a Hoosier fan.
Boy,
I know these next, 2.5 weeks are tough without IU football. There are bowl games. There are a lot of fun bowl games to watch, as well as playoff games on the 19th and 20th. And then we'll dive into exactly who IU is going to play, their path to the playoff. We'll get to IU's path to the playoff. And then after the Rose Bowl, we'll dive into the portal does not open until January 2nd. And I will say this. I know we weren't going to talk about the portal. Be careful what you read on social media. Agents are putting stuff out that is either incorrect or just pumping up their own clients. They're doing their job. I'm not, they're doing their job for their clients, which is what they're supposed to do. But don't believe that IU is talking to every quarterback that has been in the portal or will be in the portal or former quarterback who played at IU or, no matter who says what. Here's my philosophy on the portal. Look at the past with Sig. Look at how he handles the portal. There's going to be a cultural fit. There's going to be a need fit. There's going to be a cost fit. Now, IU does have a good NIL budget, but I don't think that they're going to blow $5 million on a quarterback because you could spread that around to other areas of need: offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, safety. There are a lot of areas that IU needs to fill up. We'll have it all covered. I did put our portal shopping list out. It's not 100%. It's what I think is going to happen. It's not 100% set in stone. And for argument's sake, it had all these NFL juniors going to the league. Now that's none of that. Not all of them are 100%, or a couple of them who are, but we'll see. It is an exciting time to be a football fan. It is also a frustrating time to be a football fan because it seems like everything is moving at once and there is no focus on, the Rose Bowl is happening and this could be the matchup, or the national championship is happening. It's still arguing about Notre Dame. It's coaches leaving, who's getting hired where, who's leaving for the transfer portal. So, it's frustrating as a fan too. But final thoughts, TJ.
I think it's really exciting to be able to watch a game between Alabama and Oklahoma, knowing that our team Indiana is waiting for them in Pasadena. Two, blue bloods in the sport, Alabama and Oklahoma. One of them will get to play Indiana or will have to play Indiana. And it's going to be in the Rose Bowl. It's still hard to wrap my head around, but it is something that this team has absolutely deserved. And I trust this coaching staff. We can sit here and, we can bask in the in the glory of it for a month and not have to be focused on anything in the future. It doesn't matter what we do. I trust the coaching staff will have the players fully focused on the task at hand, which, as you said, 3 games away from a national championship. That's
3 wins.
Let's not lose sight of what the college football playoff actually is. It is playing for the national championship.
Yep.
And Indiana is right there with as good a shot as anybody else.
You're the number 1 seed. You've got to pick your road through the Peach Bowl. And you're going to be playing, if you end up winning the Rose Bowl and then playing the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, which there are a ton of IU fans in Atlanta and a ton of fans who are probably sitting going, man, I'm going to get tickets to the Peach Bowl because it doesn't cost an arm and a leg and a kidney and whatever other organ you could sell on the black market, TJ, to get out to California.
My firstborn, he just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah. So
that's a joke, everybody. Yeah, he's coming home with me. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't swat TJ, please. Anyway, it's as many hits as I would get. Yeah, it is expensive, and there are probably a lot of people who are, I'm going to pass on the Rose Bowl to go to the Peach Bowl.
Yeah,
and stuff like that, because you could drive. It's easy drive from Indy. Plane tickets were reasonable about a week ago up until this week.
Yeah,
and then if you win that, you're playing the national title in Miami, which is also, there are a lot of Florida IU alum in Miami.
Yeah.
So it's you're the number 1 seed. You're undefeated, Big Ten champs. The path has never been clearer to a national title. No, you just need 3 wins, and they're going to take it one at a time, and it starts at the Rose Bowl on January 1st at 4 p.m. Eastern. And it has been a heck of a ride, and there's still a heck of a ride left to go, whether it be 1 game, 3 games, or whatever. So, well, stick with us throughout. We'll have all the Rose Bowl preview stuff. We've been talking some basketball as well, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. We're getting into football recruiting too. It's just not on the front burner. So keep coming back to HoosierHuddle.com. Subscribe. It's $30 for the year, $3 for the month. If you just want to sign up for the month to get the Rose Bowl stuff and the college football playoff stuff, go ahead. College football playoff final is on January 19th. So if you want to spend the $3 and get your coverage up through that game, the time to do it is now. And then we also have our gear shop up in the forums as well. There's a lot of cool gear for Hoosier Huddle. Helps support our site as well as gives you guys some fun stuff to wear, parade around, and help us out. So yeah, follow us on Twitter at Hoosier_Huddle. Subscribe to wherever you listen to your podcasts, and enjoy it. This is what people have been wishing for and praying for. So enjoy it, and then we'll find out who IU plays sometime late Friday night, early Saturday, hopefully late Friday night. If it's early Saturday morning, the game went off the rails. Late Friday night between Oklahoma and Alabama. That game is on ABC.
Yes.
That game is on ABC. So tune in, watch it. It's a stress-free game.
That's right. That's right.
All right.